Welcome to part 29 module 1 computer networks. Now we are almost at the end of the this module. So far we were discussing that ISO OSI reference model and the TCP IP model in detail with layering everything we saw. Now in this video and its subsequent video we'll be seeing some comparison between these two, some kind of comparison. The OSI versus the TCP IP reference model, some things were common, but first we will see the similarity, then the differences. So these things I taken exclusively from the point of view of Tannenbaum textbook, but of course things were slightly explained different with other textbooks also, so you can read them even. And for exam point of view, you just have to remember some 4-5 points depending on the mark that you can just list out as a table. But here I am going somewhat in a detailed way, like to explain the comparison, not as a table. Finally you should be able to express it as a table of comparison. So that is the best way of answering if such a question is coming in your university exam. So that you can simply list out in table, but for the time being I thought of giving, because that is the way it is being explained in your Tannenbaum textbook. Yeah, let's see something, many things I already pointed out already. So the TCP IP and the OSI reference models have much in common. We will first see the common or the similarities. So both are based on the concept of stack of independent protocols, right? Whether it is TCP IP or in OSI model, we can see a stack of protocols, and the protocols itself for TCP IP, they have their own defined protocol, and with that protocol in mind the layering came. So protocol stack is something fixed, where in OSI we have a flexibility. The same OSI model we can match with a different protocol stack also other than this. So also the functionality of the layers also roughly similar in the sense link layer, just it's comparable with the data link layer, physical layer. In Tannenbaum it is separated out, it's not explained as part of the TCP IP model, but in I told you now 4000 and all, if it's presented as a 5-layer model where physical layer is also explained, but still the functionality of that layer, that is link layer, is somewhat you can comparable with the data link layer of the OSI model. Similarly the network and the internet layer, right, and transport layer in both case, and application layer where session and presentation just omitted and it's being added as part of the application layer when it comes to TCP IP model. So the functionality you can compare, they are similar, this protocol stack similar. I mean the concept of stack of protocol is there in both, but the type of protocol used that may be different for ISO OSI reference model. So for example in both the models, layers up through and including the transport layer are there to provide end-to-end service, that you know, right? But if you are looking at OSI reference model, transport layer and above it, like a transport layer, session, presentation and application layer together providing the end-to-end service, that is the process-to-process communication, and their network independent transport service to process wishing to communicate. So they are not depending on the network in the sense of subnet, so they are just focusing on the end-to-end communication, the process to process the information correctly delivered or not. When it comes to TCP IP, session, presentation absent, but still we have the application and the transfer layer together, they are providing the end-to-end service. So that kind of similarity were there. So these layers form a transport provider, like that you can think of them. Again in both models, the layers above the transport are the application oriented users of the transport service. So above transport layer we have the presentation, session and application layer, but in TCP IP only application layer. So whatever it is application oriented, right? That is something I already told you. If you are looking at the lower 4 layers of the TCP ISO OSI reference model, that is physical, data link, network and the transport layer, they are typically implemented as part of the operating system if you are implementing ISO OSI. Otherwise in case of TCP, those lower layers including transport layer, because that is something needed for all type of application. But above transport layer we have the session, presentation and application layer, that's again the session and presentation are optional, all applications don't need them, and some from application to application their requirement will vary, the type of the encryption algorithm they are using will vary, the compression technique they are using will vary. So like that things will change, so it's not feasible for us to implement them as part of the operating system, because when it is being implemented as part of the operating system, so we have this difficulty, like how many different algorithms you are going to implement, how many different applications. So applications are getting added day by day, right? Like HTTP, FTP, SMTP, RTP, DNS, like that many we saw. But if you are looking at the list of applications and their transfer layer protocol, some you can look at Wikipedia, you can see many such applications were coming up day by day. So how we can implement everything as part of the operating system, that is not feasible. So we are depending on the application itself to implement that higher layers, like application, presentation and session if present. And the lower layers will be supported as part of the operating system, having support of networking. So that about the similarity, that is the functionality looks similar, the protocol stacks, that concept looks similar, like that. But differences is something we have to highlight. Starting one major difference is regarding the three major concepts by OSI layer, that is service, interface and protocol. So the OSI model makes a clear distinction between these three concepts explicitly. I think I already dedicated one video for explaining these three parameters, even that is repeatedly asking previous year question, what define service, interface and protocols, like that they can ask you. So anyway, just for refreshing your memory, I listed out these things. But the difference is what we have to highlight. It is like in OSI model, we have a very clear distinction among these three terminologies. But no such distinction is made in TCP/IP. So that is one difference you can highlight. So let's see the terminology. So what is a service? Each layer performs some kind of service. So these things were defined with respect to OSI model. Okay, so each layer performs some service for the layer above it. So the layer acts as a service provider, and the layer above it will be taking that service from the lower layer. The service definition tells what the layer does. It defines the layer semantics. So it's not about syntax, in the sense the syntax is normally coming in the interface, like how we will get access to that service. But how the service is being implemented, so that is a semantic part. So that is up to the layer, and it is not known to the layer above or below it. Only it is specific to that layer, and the layer will be implementing the service. Now a layer's interface to the layer above it tells the process about the process which is running above it, how to access this particular service. It specifies what are all the parameters and what result to expect from the lower layer. So to have this particular service, you have to call this kind of a system call or a function, and to this function you have to pass this many parameters, and this is how the service will be replying you back, and this is a return value of this. So like that you will get the syntactic structure of the service. You can see that in the interface part. So service is what is being implemented in a layer, and how it is being accessed, that is the interface. And this interface is something that you have to keep as common, and if you want, you can vary the way in which the service is being implemented. In the sense the protocols can change. That makes this OSI reference model different from TCP/IP. Finally, the peer protocol. Why it is called a peer protocol? Because it is running on peers of the same level. The peer protocols used in the layer are the layers on business. So every layer means sender and receiver side, data link layer of sender and data link layer of receiver, network layer of sender and network layer of receiver, transfer layer of sender and transfer layer of receiver. So like that, the transfer layer protocols were running, data link layer protocols were running, or network layer protocols were running. So that is a case, that is up to the layer. So it can use any protocol it wants as long as it gets the job done. So the offered service to be done, and for executing the service we can depend on any protocol, that is not a problem. But the interface should be static, like the way in which the higher layer can access the service should be uniform, And regarding its implementation part, if you want, you can go for a different implementation. So it can also change them at will without affecting software in the higher layer. So higher layer should not be affected at all when you are doing some modification in the lower layer. So that is how that flexibility is being achieved, that encapsulation, abstraction, all those things, those parameters you heard in object oriented, we can apply here also. So that kind of a design we have in case of OSI. But when it comes to TCP/IP model, it did not originally clearly distinguish between service interface and protocols. All the people have tried to retrofit it after the fact to make it more OSI like. So when they started coming up with the TCP/IP model, initially they didn't give any attention on differentiating these three parameters and to have them implement separately. No effort were given, but instead what they done is they tried to retrofit the TCP/IP model after the fact, like they want it to be OSI compatible or OSI like. So in that way they tried to make it somewhat like OSI, or they tried to give a clear distinction among the terminology, service interface and protocols. So as a consequence, the protocols in the OSI model are better hidden than in the TCP/IP model and can be replaced relatively easily as the technology changes. So that is why TCP/IP model, the protocols were fixed, and once the protocol is fixed, they move on to the actual design, and you are not supposed to change it. But when it comes to OSI model, only the functionalities were defined, and if you want, you can change replace the set of protocols used with a new set of one. As the technology changes, of course, without affecting the higher layers. So that kind of a flexibility is there in OSI model, and being able to make such changes transparently is one of the main purpose of having layered protocols. So when it comes to layered protocol in mind, this is something minimum needed for us, right? So the changes that is happening to one layer should not affect the layer above it, so applicable to all layers. So that kind of so that is what makes layered approach different from the monolithic or some other approach. So that real benefit is what we are getting when it comes to OSI model. But in case of TCP/IP model, it's not possible, like some kind of dependency it is having with the protocols to be used. So it is a question like whether we are getting the pure concept of layered architecture in TCP/IP or not, but in OSI definitely we are getting that. So that about the difference. So the difference number one is, in OSI model there is a clear distinction among the terminology service, interface and protocol, but there is no such clear distinction in the initial version of this TCP/IP. Later they try to retrofit so that it will look like the OSI model. Yeah, that about it. Thank you.